Everybody, the topic of this panel is expanding trade and investment in services. And I think it's widely agreed that potentially the most important step to achieve that objective is to launch a meaningful effort to liberalize services, trade, and investment further in the Doha round in the World Trade Organization. That will require restoring the original Doha round concept of elevating services to an equal position with agricultural and manufacturing trade, to restore the three-legged stool, the tripartite structure that was envisaged when Doha was originally launched almost a decade ago. Once that's done, I think the governments could then proceed fairly quickly to the traditional request and offer process to try to move meaningfully toward liberalization of the services sector on a global and multilateral basis. I think all that's widely agreed as an objective. I think it's also widely agreed that it is essential to bring services in that manner to the center of the Doha round if the round itself is going to succeed. We have recently published a study at our Peterson Institute that's been widely cited, showing that the payoff from the current package that's been worked out in Doha to date, while useful, is not very substantial. It does not represent a high-level ambition. It has not, to put it mildly, commanded widespread support around the world, including in this country, in the United States, simply because the numbers are not large enough to generate enthusiasm that is needed first to bring the round to a successful conclusion, and then to get it through parliaments, including our own Congress in this country. So, the need for movement on services is acute, both in terms of advancing the opportunities in that sector itself, but to bring this whole multilateral enterprise to a successful conclusion, which, at a time of global slowdown, at a time when protectionist threats are acute, is extremely important to move the trade policy ball forward and to keep the trade system moving in the right direction. We have a panel of 4 very distinguished ministers from key countries this morning to talk about those issues. They've already been addressed, they've already been introduced. Minister Sharma arrived precisely in just-in-time delivery mode so that I can turn to him to lead off the discussion as planned. Minister Sharma, of course, is the veteran of this group, although he's only been in office for about a year and a half. He's already played a central role in the Doha round talks, in a variety of bilateral and regional free trade agreements that his India has been negotiating. We look to him for lead-off remarks, and then we'll turn to our colleagues from Mexico, from the United Kingdom, and from Australia. Minister Sharma. Yes.
Good morning. I've just walked in, so I'm not prepared to straight away make opening remarks. I thought that I'd first listen to you and then see what you say about this particular meeting. We're very happy that back in the past this Global Services Meet has been organized. Last evening at Brittan Institute, we had an occasion to interact on matters pertaining to the world trade, and services was one of the subjects which was discussed. Over the years, this sector has acquired a very special place, a central one, in the global trade discussions. There are many countries which have seen that the services sector has moved from strength to strength, playing a critical role in the development of the world and also delivering services to distant places. We in India ourselves would not have thought that until a few years ago, services sector will contribute more than 50% to our GDP. In the global context, when we look at the trade in services, it is significant. over $3 trillion, and the potential to grow much more. As we are engaged bilaterally and in multilateral negotiations, we feel that this is one area which needs more focus and attention to give that momentum to the ongoing trade negotiations. Earlier, there was a view that the services sector as such can follow the other two on which the negotiations are on a very natural manner, in a sequential manner. We had a meeting last September in Delhi. In principle, it was agreed that there has to be a horizontal place in the services negotiations. This morning, we were talking to the Secretary General Bhaskar, which is what perhaps we can do along with the other stakeholders and key interlocutors to take forward a global understanding of cooperation in the services sector. As I've said, and all of you know, it is not only a big economic generator, but when it comes to bringing down the transaction costs and services, empowering those sectors in developing countries which need special focus, particularly small businesses in every country, those who do not have that kind of resources of logistical support which major enterprises and big industries do have. We'll wait to hear from you as to what you have in mind to ask us about the services sector, the service industry as such. That would be the time to respond.
But I maybe ask you to address a particular question. India is well known to be a major services provider and one of the world's most competitive countries in the services sector. Would you characterize, before you came in, I raised the question of how to move forward on services in the Doha round. Would you characterize India's interests in that negotiation as more offensive or defensive? Or are you looking to expand market opportunities for Indian servicing abroad, or are you more concerned about the risk of increased protection in your internal market of import services?
India has seen a transformation in the sector. We are an exporter of services, but we are also a net importer of services. Contrary to the impression that it's only Indian professionals who are moving out, or India is providing the outsourcing services, when we look at the figures, it evens out. So there is a balance in the trade in services in the case of India. The question is now whether offensive or defensive, these are the expressions of the words which are used in negotiations. But yes, we have very high level of ambition when it comes to negotiations and services, particularly in Mode 4 and Mode 3, both movement of national persons and movement of professionals. And what we see as a emerging trend is, which perhaps is connected to less confidence, not absence of confidence, is to raise barriers which comes in the way of movement of professionals in the services sector. That is not a healthy trend. We have raised it. We feel that protectionism of any kind would be counterproductive, but not help in the global economic recovery. It ends up hurting the same economies who try to erect new barriers. The only